Hello, friends. It's your friend Lee with Story Time. I'm reporting to you from the couch of hamstring recovery. Oh, yes. So, today's story, we go back to college. So, as a young person, I became a bit of a joker. I just realized it made most situations easier if people were laughing. So, I became a bit of a joker. And when I decided to go to community college, I got into it, right? And I had a big report due, research report. So, me being me, even back then, I researched, different forms of humor and styles and methods of delivery and got into it. And I decided to start doing some stand-up comedy, which is pretty intense and terrifying. And I've always had this part of me that's compelled to lean into that space. And at the time I was done temporarily with motocross and I hadn't got into real gravity racing. I was an endurance athlete and apparently I needed terror. So stand-up comedy it was. So, I'm doing little things at a party with a bunch of people, tiny venue. The biggest one I did, we were at a movie theater, 100 people? And the movie stopped working, so I went up front and entertained everybody, and that was fun. And it was working good. It was good because there's no expectations, right? So this college I was at, Saddleback College, it's a good sized college, I think it was 20,000 students, something like that. And they had a talent show and they had a big auditorium, proper big auditorium. And I thought, well, I'm doing good with this and I'm going to win. Expectations right there. Okay. So I had my routine that I've been developing, and I showed up and I'm in the back room, and you can hear, I could hear the audience and it was a lot more than I was used to. And these are people who knew me, right? I was the editor of the school paper and I ran a column every week with my picture and I was really getting into humor and commentary, kind of like a Dave Barry vibe, if you remember Dave Barry, the columnist from the Miami Herald. And so it's kind of known. I was back there and I'm hearing the size of the audience and I'm getting really, really nervous, terrified nervous. And that little part of me, the critical part's like, dude, you're not funny enough. This isn't good enough. You need a stick. You need something like a hook. And in that stress, minutes before I go on, right? Like the previous guy, I can hear him. I go, oh, I have an idea. So, this was 1990 or so. And I rode my bike everywhere. I was a young cyclist and triathlete. And I had a pair of black tights that had fluorescent orange crackles that kind of mirrored your veins. And I stripped down to nothing but those tights. And I told the music bro to start with a spotlight on me, house lights down, 20, 30 seconds of stripper music, and to stop suddenly. And the idea was, that I would go out there and bump and grind and do the thing. And then the music would stop, the lights would come on. I'd act surprised and say, wait, isn't this so-and-so's bachelorette party? And then go into my routine. At the time, it seemed hilarious. Okay, so I'm 20, 21, and I'm in shape, man. 8-pack, 6.0% body fat, full head of hair, in these tights. I'm in the back. I'm doing push-ups. I'm doing dips, which are not relaxing me. I'm just getting even more amped, right? And it's I can hear the guy kind of winding down, and it's almost time. And I'm okay, here we go. And then at the last second, I got another idea. And it seemed like such a perfect idea in that moment. And I went to the bathroom, and I got probably 30 feet of paper towel. And I made a wad about the size of a volleyball. And I shoved it into the front of my tights. Yeah. And the idea was, it all made sense in the panic that maybe 2/3 of the way through my routine, there was an awkward transition that I was still working with. And that would be the time to pretend like I had to sneeze, ask the audience for a handkerchief and go, hang on, I got this, and fish out these 30 feet of paper towel and pretend like I sneezed. And it just seemed perfect. It seemed so funny. And so, and I'm just amped and I'm just ripped and just scared to death, right? And then I hear the announcer, oh, you might know him from the newspaper, Liam McCormack, and just, oh my God, crowd noise like I've never heard, man. And I go out there and it's just the spotlight on my face and my brain just goes, down. Nothing. Not one idea passed through my head. It was empty. And I had a couple one-liners on my hand, okay? And I issued them. I was like, and I was just standing there. And I was just like, okay, everybody, I'm really sorry. And I turned around and walked off stage. I was so embarrassed. I was mortified. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. And my brother had a big old VHS, camcorder, and he taped it. And there's a moment when I turned sideways to the audience, and that paper towel ball in my tights was not subtle. It was crazy. Like you could not see it. And I forgot to mention it. And I leave, and I'm just all weekend, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I didn't want to show my face at school, but Monday comes along. And I'm walking around trying to be a person, doodly-doo. And everybody's looking at me different. Word was out, apparently, that I'd done this crazy, terrible show. And especially the girls were looking at me different. And I hadn't thought it through. And I go to lunch, and me and the lunch lady, we had rapport. And we'd always kibitz with each other, right? And so I roll up, and she goes, so Lee, I saw your performance. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. And she goes, honey, you got nothing to be embarrassed about. And then it hit me up. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Those tights. Yeah. So there you go. That's my most embarrassing thing that I've ever done that wound up being not all that embarrassing. I think maybe the takeaway for me is that last minute idea that hits right in the panic. Maybe don't do it. Oh man, good fun. I wish you all a good day. Namaste.